NASCAR has officially delayed the introduction of the next-gen car a full year. We're not going to be seeing that thing until 2022. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric, and welcome to Out of the Groove. We have a few things to talk about today, but a lot of it we already kind of covered earlier this week. A few days ago it was already reported that NASCAR was meeting with the teams, meeting with the manufacturers, talking about delaying the next-gen car. At the time, though, it sounded like they still wanted to introduce the new car sometime in 2021, just not at the beginning of the season like they originally promised. It sounded like they had a couple different options, one of which was them kind of, like they did in 2007 with the car tomorrow, kind of slowly implementing the car. Some weeks and kind of swapping back and forth, Gen 6, Next Gen, week to week, throughout the year, and kind of running a mixed schedule like that. Their other idea, it sounded like, was just picking a point in the middle of the season and choosing that point to then switch from Gen 6 over to Next Gen and just kind of going from there. Neither of those plans apparently made it past the cutting room floor. NASCAR announced yesterday that they are completely delaying the Next Gen car a full year. It will not be on track until February of 2022. I mean, I guess it will technically be on track before then. They're going to have to test it, obviously. They have not revealed what the new testing schedule is going to look like, but I expect a lot of it to happen probably in 2021. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot more of it in 2020, but it just depends on how quickly, hopefully, things clear up. But they have not revealed any testing details yet. Their plans basically have gone up in smoke in wake of this entire pandemic. But that was the news yesterday. Here was NASCAR's official statement they put out. Due to challenges related to the coronavirus pandemic, the debut of the next-gen car will be delayed until 2022. The decision was made in collaboration with the OEMs and team owners. We will continue to develop the next-gen car, and a revised testing timeline will be shared when more information is available. So yeah, we already talked about this a little bit earlier in the week, but NASCAR was on such a tight schedule with this next-gen car already to get this thing ready by 2021 that any sort of hiccup or roadblock that they hit along the way was likely going to derail their plans. And yeah, a worldwide pandemic is... That's a pretty big roadblock. The way the original plan was, the race teams were going to be getting their versions of the next-gen car by this July. As it was, all the OEMs manufacturers were currently busy designing their versions of the next-gen car, and they were going to be submitting them to NASCAR shortly for approval. That was where they were at. Very tight window, because of course the car, it was supposed to debut this coming February, but now that's all been derailed. It's been delayed a full year. It sounds like TRD's David Wilson was one of the most publicly against the idea of implementing the car in 2021. He was pushing from the very beginning. It was leaked to the public this week that he wanted the next-gen car to be pushed to 2022. He's also been one of the most vocal skeptics since the beginning that NASCAR could achieve their tight, aggressive timeline. From what I've read, it sounds like the other manufacturers kind of ultimately agreed with him and kind of wanted NASCAR to push the car a full year. This is not surprising. Like I said, most vendors who are building all the parts of this car have been forced to shut down, or many of them are probably even building medical supplies. Ultimately, delaying this new car a whole year to 2022, it sucks. But I think, given the circumstances, it was the right call. I've verbalized my concerns really since the beginning about this, about NASCAR and their very ambitious schedule to try and get this next-gen car out by 2021. I worried that NASCAR was rushing things. This car is arguably the most important thing NASCAR has tried to produce in the last couple of decades, and I'm just afraid they can't afford to get it wrong. And with the entire industry fast-tracking this thing, I was just worried that some important detail was getting swept under the rug, something that we would come back to notice later. So that is the silver lining in all this. With the whole car being delayed a year, the whole project being delayed 12 months, this gives NASCAR, the teams, the manufacturers, everyone, a chance to go back and check their work, so to speak. They're not going to be in a rush, at least not the same kind of rush they've probably been in for the last year or so. So I'd love to see NASCAR and the teams go back and really take their time looking at this thing. It sounds like they have a pretty cool product already. The drivers who had tested it, for the most part, had good reviews. Most of the manufacturers and team owners seem to be pretty positive on it. But this is smart, delaying it a whole year, because the next-gen car is billed as a long-term cost-saving measure. It's supposed to make owning a NASCAR race team more cost-effective, more efficient, more affordable than ever before. But it's not going to do that overnight. In fact, the next-gen car in a lot of ways is a short-term major investment, as in the short term, a lot of money is going to be poured into these things for it to then spread out over many years and be more cost-effective down the line. But it's upfront a major investment. And right now, with a lot of race teams, kind of strapped for cash, with this hiatus going on, who knows how long, money is tight, money is dried up, many teams have had to lay off some workers. To try and rush this out and make teams within the next few months still have to pour forth all that money to research and development and design these new race cars, I think it's smart to delay, just given where everything else is lining up. If they still tried to introduce the next gen car, even early 2021, like tried to get it in the team's hands, try to get it ready by the middle of the season, there's still going to be a lot of strain on these race teams financially even after we go back racing, hopefully sometime this year. There's still going to be a lot of strain financially on the teams, and trying to fast track a brand new race car that's going to cost a lot of money in the short term is not the smartest way to do things, I think. I think it's smart to let this thing play out, let it wait until 2022 when hopefully everyone's kind of figured it out a little bit more, everything's a little bit more stabilized. I think that is the best way to go with it. So there you have it. Definitely disappointing news. NASCAR has been hyping up 2021. Fans have been hyping up 2021 as this exciting new season, this exciting new generation of NASCAR. And unfortunately, now we're going to largely have to wait a whole nother year. It's disappointing, but given just the circumstances, nobody can really blame NASCAR for this or anyone about it. It's just doing the best you can with the cards you're dealt. That's how the saying goes. Let's get the rest of the negative news out of the way before I go into something a little bit more positive. Adam Stern reported, from Sports Business Journal of course, that NASCAR is about to introduce a series of layoffs. He says here that these layoffs were in the works before this pandemic started. It has to do with the ISC and NASCAR merger. As he said in that tweet right there, it's unclear how many layoffs, how many people are actually affected, what specific areas are affected. I'm not going to overreact to this too much. It's fairly common in major businesses when there's a huge merger that certain positions, certain jobs get let go. It sucks, and I would say the timing in this case is definitely suboptimal, but there's a lot of duplicate positions, like we mentioned in that text. They got people who work in marketing for ISC who also work in marketing for NASCAR. You likely don't have to keep all those people. That's just one example. There's other examples like that that are probably more effective. I'm not super in the know on all the business stuff. I don't know everything that happens behind the scenes in NASCAR, but that's my point. There's positions that can be let go in this instance, and yeah, the timing sucks obviously with everything going on in the world, but this is not entirely shocking. I'm not going to overreact to this, but yeah, NASCAR corporate has already slashed all of their salaries 20 to 25% for the length of this hiatus, so everyone's trying to manage it the best way they can, and I think NASCAR right now is just kind of in the same boat as everyone else. Anyway, I want to wrap up this show by going over the new formats announced for this weekend's Pro Invitational iRacing Now 2-day event with Saturday Night Thunder. Let's talk about that for a moment. So Saturday Night Thunder at Bristol, remember, is an iRacing event that is primarily for Truck Series and Xfinity Series drivers to participate in. They'll be racing ARCA Series cars around the high banks at Bristol Motor Speedway. The format has been announced. It will be broadcast at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on NASCAR.com, also NASCAR's YouTube channel. Might have to jump in the live chat. Hopefully they have that going. And the format is set up like this. The evening will begin with every driver running 2 qualifying laps to determine their lineups for the heat races. Then there will be 4 20-lap heat races. The top 4 finishers in each heat race will advance to the main event later in the night. Then, according to Bob Hawkers from Fox Sports, there will be 2 last chance qualifying races, also 20 laps long, and I believe the top 4 finishers in both races will advance. I'm not sure on that one. That's not entirely clear. But either way, there'll be those 2 last chance races. And then there will be a 150-lap main event race where each driver will get 1 fast repair reset type deal. Among those participating in this race, Anthony Alfredo, Ty Majeski, both Burtons, Corey LaJoie, who apparently was not allowed to race Sunday this week. Apparently NASCAR told him he could not race in the Pro Invitational, even though he's a Cup Series guy. I think it has to do with the fact that Bristol is a very difficult track on iRacing. It's tight racing, it's close quarters, it's probably going to be messy on Sunday. And Corey LaJoie is not a big iRacing guy. He's kind of only recently started to get back into it sounds like. They didn't want Corey LaJoie going out there and possibly being a moving chicane at Bristol. So that's funny. I feel bad for Corey. Hopefully next week he's allowed in the main Cup Series Pro Invitational Sunday thing, but this week they put him on Saturday. Jeffrey Earnhardt's in it. Also Trevor Bayne. I saw him up there. Bayne. That is Trevor Bayne as well. And as you can see, a lot of other Trucks and Xfinity Series drivers, many of whom you will recognize. Those are all the drivers that will be, and I guess that's not the entire list necessarily. There might be some other names that trickle in, but those are the drivers who will be participating in Saturday Night Thunder. But so there you have it. A lot of heat races leading up to a longer main event. So Saturday night, if you're watching online, I'll be watching online. I'll be on NASCAR.com. I'll probably be on their YouTube channel, actually. It'll be really interesting to see how this plays out. This is their first attempt at really introducing a more complicated format to their new professional series. But I like the idea of heat races, keeping some of the fields smaller, so hopefully we don't just see caution, caution, caution. I mean, I was even watching the professionals, the Coca-Cola iRacing series the other night. Late in that race, it was caution, 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 because Bristol, it's tough to drive when you have limited visibility, when you don't have every feel that you have in a real race car. It's tough to drive Bristol and keep it entirely clean. So yeah, I think Saturday night's going to be a little messy. I think Sunday will definitely be messy with a lot of those Cup Series guys who are great real drivers, but not necessarily the most skilled or the most experienced when it comes to iRacing. I have a feeling Sunday's race is going to be pretty sloppy. But there you have it, Saturday Night Thunder. Let's talk about Sunday's race because they've also tweaked the format for that one as well. The Pro Invitational will be at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox, but again, check your local listing because it's not going to be on the main Fox everywhere. FS1, it will be on everywhere, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and the event will begin with 50-lap heat races. I've not seen a specific number of heat races. Maybe somebody in the chat can help me out with that. But these 50-lap heat races, I believe there will be 2 of them, will be used to determine the starting lineup for the, once again, 150-lap main event that's going to take place afterwards. Now, all of this is going to be televised. So starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, they're going to begin with the heat races. So those qualifying heat races will be televised as well as the main event. And in that 150-lap main event, I believe they're giving them 1 reset, but I'm not entirely sure on that one. And remember, this Sunday's event is purely limited to former and current NASCAR Cup Series drivers. Still some names that aren't racing. I looked at the tentative entry list. I didn't see Harvick's name. I didn't see Almirola. There's a couple other names I didn't see on there yet, but maybe we'll get those guys in there. Truex still not on there. Maybe we'll get them in a race at some time soon. I saw Tyler Reddick on the list this week. There you go. In my video a few days ago, it sounded like a lot of you agreed with me that it would be cool to see a couple people from the Saturday night race transfer into the Sunday race. It'd be cool if at least like the top finisher, the top couple finishers were able to transfer over to make Saturday night's thing a little bit more meaningful perhaps to a lot of people. That's what I was hoping to see. It sounded like a lot of you guys who watched my video a couple days ago kind of agreed with something similar to that. But yeah, they want to keep the field as tight, I guess, as possible for Sunday, and they want to focus on their main big name Cup Series drivers. I get it, but it is what it is. So Bristol this weekend is probably going to be messy. If you want to see more of a full-on preview for the Bristol Pro Invitational race, stay tuned to this channel. Sunday morning we'll be going live. Spencer Boyd from the NASCAR Truck Series, who will be participating in that Saturday night thing, so he'll have an interesting perspective, as well as Raja Karuth, Drive for Diversity driver, as well as a very experienced esports iRacing competitor as well. They'll be joining me live on this channel for the 2nd week in a row at noon Eastern Time, and we will be previewing the Pro Invitational race. We'll also be reacting to the Saturday Night Thunder event, and we'll be taking questions from the chat. So I encourage you guys to be there. Hope to see a whole lot of familiar faces. So yeah, that's all I've got for today's episode though. Just wanted to cover those few things. I've done a lot of videos this week, guys. I'm kind of burned out, to be quite honest with you. When I say burned out, my voice is literally burned out. I've done a lot of talking. I'm gonna go drink some tea or something. I don't know what's good for, I don't drink tea, but I think that's supposed to be good for your voice. Green tea, something like that. I don't know. We'll see about that. But thank you guys a ton for watching. I'll have more videos this weekend. Like I said, obviously we're gonna have that live stream Sunday morning. I've also been kind of making a list of other videos to do during this quarantine, basically. So hopefully I'll get some time to work on some of those sometime soon. Have a little bit more fun with you guys here on this channel. But thanks everyone for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. And of course, a major thank you to my Patreon supporters. Could not do this show without the support I get from all of you on Patreon. I really appreciate your continued support during these troubling times. I couldn't do this without you guys. Hopefully we get back racing sometime. Hopefully by this summer. That would be awesome because I'd love to go back out to more racetracks and cover them the way that I do. So if you want to support me, check out that top link down in the description. I greatly appreciate it, y'all. Thank you. Yeah, of course, I'll have more videos up next week. News continues to pump out faster than ever before. Things are changing very quickly, and whenever there's a new story, I'm here to talk about it, react to it, give you my opinion on it, hear your opinions on it, of course, and try to have a little bit of fun in a situation that is really not much fun for very many people. But thanks for sticking with me, y'all. I'll see you again very, very soon. Have a good one, y'all.